Welcome to Industry TV Network. In this video, we'll be touching on the life and times of the very talented Melba Moore. Melba Moore was born Beatrice Melba Hill in a Harlem hospital to Gertrude Melba Smith, who was born in 1920 and passed in 1976. She was a singer and went by the name Bonnie Davis. Melba Moore has stated that she was not raised by her mother and that she was raised by her nanny, who she referred to as Mama Lou. Her mother was a professional singer and she was on the road often. Mama Lou didn't know how to read or write. She was a throwback to slavery in a sense, Melba has said. She has never done anything but farm work and domestic work. Mama Lou was the primary influence for Melba's role as Ludabelle Jenkins in the Broadway musical Pearlie. She had deep Southern characteristics. Melba loved her dearly. She died when Melba was 13, and it destroyed Melba. Her father, Teddy Hill, passed away in 1978, but he was a big band leader. Moore grew up in the Harlem section of New York, and at age 9, when her mother remarried to jazz pianist Clement Leroy Moorman, the family relocated to Newark, New Jersey. For high school, Moore attended Newark Arts High School and graduated in 1958. In 1970, she graduated from Montclair State College with a BA. Moore began her recording career in 1967, cutting the track Magic Touch, which was left unreleased until 1986. In later years, it became a popular track on the Northern Soul scene, eventually leading to Moore performing it live in 2009 at the Baltic Soul Weekender 3 in Germany, north of Hamburg. In 1967, she began her performing career as Dion in the original cast of the musical Hair, along with Ronnie Dyson, Paul Jabara, and Diane Keaton. Moore replaced Keaton in the role of Sheila, and she was also the first black woman to replace a white woman in a play. In 1970, she won a Tony Award for Best Performance by a Featured Actress in a Musical for her portrayal of Ludabelle in Pearlie, a role she would later reprise in the 1981 television adaptation for Showtime. She would not return to Broadway until 1978, when she appeared as Marcina with Eartha Kitt in Timbuktu, but left the show after a few weeks and was replaced by Vanessa Shaw. In addition to her Tony Award, Moore's music career brought additional accolades. She was nominated for a Grammy Award in 1971 for Best New Artist. In 1976, she earned another Grammy nomination for Best Rhythm and Blues Vocal Performance Female for the song Lean on Me. Moore was also nominated for Best Female Rock Vocal Performance in 1986 for Read My Lips. Moore is also the 2012 recipient of the Atlanta Black Theater Festival Theater Legend Award. Moore was inducted into the official Rhythm and Blues Music Hall of Fame on October 4, 2015. Moore has also been married once and had a daughter. She was engaged in a 4-year relationship with television star Clifton Davis during the early 1970s. Davis later admitted that the relationship failed due to his drug abuse and mistreatment of Moore, and he also stated that as a young man he was committed to getting over with the women, enjoying his life, and doing what he pleased. He stated he was selfish and cold and felt no shame about it. He was also a heavy cocaine addict, an admitted womanizer, an abusive boyfriend, and a self-proclaimed people user. Davis detailed how he somehow turned it all around and began preaching the word of the Bible as a devoted minister. Referring to the reputation he had of using the women in his life, he also had a thing going on with jazz singer Nancy Wilson and a few other celebs, mixed in with the groupie love and one-night stands he confessed to having at the time. While all of that was going on, Davis said he was becoming an avid cocaine addict, and he said the unstable nature of show business is what sparked it. His addiction kicked in right after winning a Tony Award in 1972 for Two Gentlemen of Verona. He said, "You're nervous until you get the job. And when you get it, you think, I got it because I'm great. Then the job would end. I'm nothing. Nobody loves me. Finally, I got to the point where I said to myself, you ain't nothing. Let's get high and don't worry about it." He and Melba also had a television show that lasted for about 2 seasons.
Ladies and gentlemen, Melba Moore and Clifton Davis.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our first show of the summer season.
After getting over her relationship with Clifton Davis, it was only natural that she eventually married someone in the music field. She married record producer, manager, and business promoter Charles Huggins. The two have one daughter together. They ultimately found happiness personally and professionally, as Charles also played an intricate role in his wife's music career. Not long after she signed the deal, she ended up with her first hit record, This Is It, and had a number of hits afterwards. Melba later caught the acting bug, and her career soared to new heights. So did her hubby, Charles's career. The couple launched their own record label, Hush Productions. In fact, Charles had the opportunity to work with many notable names in the music industry, such as Whitney Houston, he was her music producer, Kenny G, Freddie Jackson, and many more. They enjoyed 15 years of monumental success, and it seemed they were on top of the world. But that's when things went left and all hell broke loose in the lives of Melba and Charles. The marriage took a totally unexpected turn, and Melba learned things weren't exactly as they seemed. In 1990, Charles abruptly filed for divorce and left Melba financially debilitated due to economic abuse. He didn't stop there, though. He also filed a defamation lawsuit against his estranged ex-wife, claiming she had defamed his character when she accused him of abuse throughout their marriage. Their divorce drama went on for quite some time, but then it got even stranger, and millions of dollars were involved. Charles then found himself at the center of controversy when investigators closed in on his multi-million-dollar scheme. According to Billboard, Charles misused money from investors and ultimately stole more than $8 million. Charles, along with business partners Charles Butchko and Ann Thomas, fraudulently acquired investments through their two companies, York Industries and Urogo Incorporated. Instead of using the funds appropriately, he used the funds for one of his record labels and paid his $7,200 a month luxury Manhattan apartment rent. Although his defense lawyers argued that he stole about $2.9 million from his clients, the prosecuting attorneys pointed out that he had not been caught. Charles Huggins was on track to stealing $8.9 million in his plot against his clients. This fraud was extensive, brazen, and sophisticated, U.S. District Judge Sidney Stein told Huggins, noting he lived a very luxurious lifestyle on the money of presumably hard-working individuals, people who were completely innocent. Prosecutors also revealed Charles conned his investors into believing their money was being invested in gold and diamonds from Sierra Leone and Liberia, reports New York Daily News. However, Assistant U.S. Attorney Edward Imperatori argued Charles acted out of pure greed, out of a desire to spend other people's hard-earned money on himself. In addition to funding his luxurious lifestyle, court papers indicated that some of the money was used to make payments to other investors, as in a classic Ponzi scheme. Despite the incriminating evidence against Charles, one aspect of the case was quite unusual. Although Melba's previous sentiments were very similar to the claims of her ex-husband's investment victims, claiming Charles also abused her economically, she took a different stance when it came to his trial years later. Instead of testifying against him, she testified on his behalf as a character witness in hopes of helping him obtain a lesser sentence. Her testimony was relatively strange because he'd left her and their young daughter high and dry after the divorce, according to what she'd publicly revealed years prior. However, Melba had a different perspective of it all. "I know the time he's facing will be a death sentence," said Moore, "so hopefully I can help him through this. Everyone deserves a fair chance." As a result of his actions, and also probably the result of Melba's help by way of her testimony, Charles Huggins was convicted of 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and 1 count of wire fraud. He was sentenced to 10 years behind bars in 2015, avoiding the government's request of a 22 to 27-year jail sentence, and is currently still locked up paying for his decisions. This reminds me of what comedian actress Monique once said in her stand-up to a group of prisoners: "We're all just one bad decision away from being your cellmate." In Charles's case, that bad decision became his reality. Even though Melba Moore has had her ups and downs, she still remains one of our favorite artists. And she has said that the greatest lesson that she's learned over the course of her career is that everything changes and you should let no one stop you. It's easy for people to say, "Don't be afraid to start over." But starting over is no walk in the park. My goal is just to keep things simple and not allow a lot of clutter to come in. She has been going on tour. She has been receiving awards everywhere, all over the place. And at 70 years old, she's still out there performing and doing her thing. And that is the short story of Melba Moore. Please hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.